We're back on the Nevcast with the continuation of last week's episode. Let's tune in.
Welcome to the Nevcast, where three bros talk business, art, justice, and the pursuit of Jesus.
Any day above ground is a good day.
Get ready to laugh, cry, and kiss 30 minutes goodbye with Peter Nevland,
Dave Nevland,
and
Rashid.
Yeah, Rashid, what'd you think hearing that piece? What thoughts come to your mind? Hearing that song.
Man, the song, the baddest man in heaven.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's good, man. Yeah, it's good. It's a good song, man. Yeah, he is the baddest man in heaven. Yeah, it's great.
Thanks, man.
It sounds great, man. I just got to read the Psalms 46. I never read that before. I read Psalms, but not Psalms 46 before. I got to look it up and research it and stuff. So
yeah.
But yeah, it sounds good though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Well, that's a good one.
I want to do another one.
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah.
What's this other one that you want to do?
Well,
what's this called?
So
18 months or something?
18 months. Yeah, I wanted to do this 18 months piece because I think it's really important right now for what's going on in our society.
Did you write this?
It's called an 18-month story.
And this has to do with COVID?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
But it's been longer than that for COVID.
Well, I know. I just thought maybe you wrote it a few months ago when it would have been 18 months.
No, so Paul Finley and I, if you don't know who Paul Finley is, you should check out his guitar playing. You can look him up, paulfinleymusic.com. He's got a number of albums out there.
Finn is spelled Finley.
That's right. But
Finley.
Fantastic guitarist. I used to tour with him all over the world, and one of the places we went to was Australia. And while we were in Australia performing for a couple of festivals and some other gigs, we took some time to go and look at the Blue Mountains. And the Blue Mountains, the only thing I could compare them to is they're similar kind of to what are the Smoky Mountains?
Okay,
Great Smoky
Appalachians,
Mountains.
Smoky.
Yeah, Appalachians and Smoky Mountains, because there's a mist that comes up from the Blue Mountains. And one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen was about sunset. These lights, I don't know how to explain them. They're these pink lights. I have a picture of it. Start glowing in the eucalyptus trees.
Wow.
And this golden mist is coming up from the Blue Mountains as the sunlight's hitting them. And it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. It felt like I was just entering straight into heaven.
Sounds like paradise.
Right.
Where in Australia are the Blue Mountains?
Outside of Melbourne.
So in the south.
Yeah, and also on the East Coast.
Yes.
So anyway, we're there looking at the Blue Mountains. We go to this other site called the Seven Sisters.
Uh-huh.
And when you look at the Seven Sisters, there are 3 spires of rock. Right, so story writer thinks there's got to be a story to this. Well, there just happened to be a guy dressed in Aboriginal dress, and who also was an Aborigine, or from one of the Aboriginal tribes. You know that, right? They don't call themselves Aborigines.
No, they're indigenous.
Right, but anyway, indigenous Australians, and so this guy, his name happened to be Goomblar, and he had a didgeridoo. And people kept posing for pictures with him. And most of them were Asian tourists who were posing for pictures with him.
Well, they're the closest.
So we hung out there until the day got towards its end. We had rented a car, so we were on our own. We weren't dependent on, we didn't have to leave at a certain time. And we decided, hey, we would like to go to talk to Goomblar, because clearly he's a musician, but, we just want to talk to him instead of necessarily posing for pictures. And so we were talking to him as he was packing up and, he didn't have a whole lot of stuff, I don't even understand actually that it's like he's wearing a sling. It's like a big sling, Aboriginal dress. Anyway, and so, he said, oh yeah. He said, yeah, just up here. Figured I'd make a couple extra bucks, while I was up here. And I said, well, that's cool. And he said he'd toured with Tommy Emmanuel all throughout the States.
Wow.
He had... been like he said one time he was outside this fancy hotel in San Francisco where they were staying on tour, and
so he doesn't dress like that all the time.
No, but he was dressed like that.
I know.
He was in his Aboriginal Aboriginal indigenous clothing outside of a hotel in San Francisco.
Right.
And he said he's having a coffee.
Right.
And he said this guy walks by his table and leaves $10 on his table. And he goes, yeah, guess he felt better, and I got a free coffee. And started laughing, right? And anyway, but so we talked to him for a while, and his wife actually later came and picked him up in their car, and then they drove back to their house. And so I did this one piece.
So he doesn't live somewhere in the Blue Mountains mist.
I don't know.
Maybe his house is there.
You don't know,
right?
So Rashi, we did the piece. I asked him if I could do a piece with him called George. And you know that piece, George. You remember the piece, George, about Kojak?
Okay, yeah.
He's just sitting there on his bed, going through his papers, his bills, needing to get some pills, get his prescriptions filled, right? You know, and it ends with, and George takes his place. You know, his pillow kisses his face, and George takes his place. And right after I wrote that, George died. And I read that at his memorial. Well, so I did that with Goomblar, and he played the didgeridoo, and I did that piece. It was really cool. And afterwards I said, well, George, hey, there's only 7 spires here, or there's only 3 spires, but it's called the Seven Sisters. What's the story? And he goes, oh, that's an 18-month story, mate. And I'm like, what do you mean? And so he told me, so I wrote this piece. He sat on the overlook, bewitching the 7 sisters with didgeridoo, a native in a zoo, matte black skin sucking in sun, shoulder-length dreads and minimal clothing, magnetizing tourists, snapping photos, eager to pose with Australia. How much for picture? That'll be $10, mate. They paid, posed, and left. Paid, posed, and left. Preconceptions confirmed, but no closer to Australia than they'd been before. I waited till the crowds returned to hotel doors and airplane rides. Then I met Goomblar, Aboriginal cell phone wielding straddler of native and civilized. He handed me his business card. Told tales of tours with Tommy Emmanuel, his didgeridoo earning applause on stages, his native dress earning charity handouts sipping cappuccino outside a San Francisco hotel. God just laid $10 on my table without a word. Guess he felt better, and I got a free cappuccino. Then we played. My poetry, his didgeridoo. 7 sisters danced. But my mind still had questions. Goomblar, why do they name them the 7 sisters when only 3 spires stand there? Oh, that's an 18-month story. An 18-month story? Only way to learn it is to come spend 18 months in the bush with my people. Eat our food, sing our songs, sleep in our huts. Can't you give me the condensed version? You'd only hear what you already think. I still don't know that tale. Not sure if I ever will. As his wife picked him up in their car and he tucked away his cash, I wondered who the captives were and who's keeping the zoo. So often we reduce each other to cheap answers. $10 pictures, height, weight, hair color, address, Republican or Democrat, Christian, atheist, Muslim or Jew, Hindu, Buddhist? Don't forget your category. Box you tick, badge you lick, white, black, Hispanic or other, pro-life or choice, gay marriage, transgender, are you straight? Do you want a box or a journey? A license to judge or eyes full of value? Humans living like we have stories worth telling better forever. I'm up here on my overlook, spitting for people I hope will be sisters and brothers. But if you ask where I stand on the issues, sometimes it's an 18-month story. If I'm not worth you listening, being with, spending time with, why should I tell you what you already think?
Oh, our categories. Oh, our boxes. Oh, man. Are we going to stop doing that?
I don't know. Humans have a long history.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. You're in that camp, and so you're bad.
Well, you're different than me. So I have to reduce you to something that makes me feel better. Or whatever. or I'm just afraid, or
Yeah.
right?
Right.
I mean, what happens when you stop having distance between the people that don't look or don't act like you or don't think like you,
Well,
and you start spending time with them?
And we all, right. We all hate the Nazi category. So if you just want to, give yourself permission to hate a category of person, just call them Nazis. I mean, that's what Putin is doing to Ukraine. He's calling the denazification of the Ukraine. It's like, what?
Yeah, and the president is Jewish.
Yeah. So just, yeah.
Sometimes it's an 18-month story.
Yeah.
You don't understand people until you spend time with them.
18 months to go 18 inches from your head to your heart.
Head to your heart.
That's good, right? That's good.
Yeah, that's good. Rashid, do you feel like you have any stories that you couldn't tell unless somebody spent some time with you?
Yeah, I got stories, but some of them I couldn't say,
Yeah, right? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I can't tell you that story yet because we don't know each other well enough.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what he said. But it's interesting that he applied it to things that were even landmarks, like the land. To Aboriginals, the land is also sacred.
Right.
And apparently, that's not actually too unbiblical either.
Not too unbiblical.
In fact, it's not
land being
unbiblical
sacred.
at all. It is actually biblical that, not only it said, bless the borders of your land, but as well, the Bible said that he asked that Israel to spend every 7 years taking a year of rest. Israel was in the promised land for 490 years, and they never once let the land take a year of rest. And Jeremiah figured out that they were going to be in captivity for 70 years.
Yes.
Because they had skipped the year of rest, the Sabbath year, for 70 years. And it says at the end of 2 Chronicles, Ezra says,
And then the land.
And then the land had its rest.
Yes.
And the people returned from captivity.
70 times 7.
Right. And then
Not 7
Jesus.
times, 70 times 7.
Right. Right. And then Jesus comes and refers to 70 times 7, which referenced his forgiveness.
But even before that, God says, I need you to go to the land where I'm going to place my name.
Right. The land where I will place my name.
So the name of God.
It's actually
it's a Hebrew character in the alphabet.
Did you know this,
They
Rashid?
refer to the name of God. They can refer. They don't say the name of God, right? Or they didn't say the name of God, and they still don't. But they would say the name, and the name. I'm trying to get this right. Is kind of a three. Is started with this. The first character looks like a 3-prong kind of character.
It looks like 3 fingers.
Looks like 3 fingers.
Actually, yeah, it's more accurate that it's your 2 fingers and then your thumb.
Okay.
Like this.
Mount Zion looks like this character.
So you got him, Rashid. Hold up your index finger, your middle finger, and then also your thumb at the same time. Those 3 fingers, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first name. That's what it looks like in Hebrew. The first name of the name for Yahweh.
The first letter of the name Yahweh.
Right. The Yah.
Right?
Okay.
And Mount Zion has these 3 fingers protruding that look like that character. So the actual place of Mount Zion looks like the character that they associate with Yahweh.
So it is the place where God put
crazy?
his name. Isn't that wild?
Gotta beware. And the first time that place is mentioned in Scripture is when Abraham goes up to sacrifice Isaac.
To sacrifice Isaac,
The
but doesn't.
promise.
And God provides.
God is the Jehovah Jireh.
The sacrifice.
Provides the sacrifice.
Right. So that we
This
didn't have to be
layer,
sacrificed.
Layer.
So many layers. Right?
Layer. God's a great artist. He's better than us.
Right.
And he keeps his theme.
Apparently, he likes the creation of his art as well.
Yeah.
We are not his only art. The earth is his art.
I would say he thinks it's very good.
Right. In fact, the earth is the Lord's in all its fullness,
Right.
the world and those who dwell therein, because he founded it upon the seas and established it upon the waters. Psalm 24. That's the beginning of Psalm 24. Right.
Yeah.
Man,
Come on.
I tell you. But, look, we need time. And, it's so easy. So what does social media do? It allows you to express your opinion without having to spend any time with someone that you disagree with.
Right.
And we keep separating ourselves further and further. It's time for people to realize that you can only go so far with technology until you realize that people are the ultimate created technology.
Yeah. Yeah. Designed. Yeah. Irreducibly complex.
That's right. And that's why we're spending time together. That's why, man, Rushy, we got to figure out time for you to come here to Austin and be with us while we're recording the Nevcast.
Truly.
Yeah, no doubt.
When are we gonna do that? We got a list of dates.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, when he starts driving more out of state and
Or out of Houston.
Houston.
He's in the same
Yeah.
state. It's just a big state.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
yeah. When stuff get, better this way, stuff get better, man. Like,
Well, we miss you. I miss you, man. I miss having you around. I miss getting to hug you and show you how much stronger I am than you. It's a joke. It's a big joke.
Yeah, man. We're playing it soon, man.
Right.
God say the same.
We need to have some more 18-month stories.
True.
We've lived together more than 18 months.
Well, we need to have some more 45-minute stories from Rushy as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Well, hey, man, if, just want to encourage you, have some more 18-month stories, right? Spend them with people. I've just, not just you, Rushy, I'm talking to people. I'm looking at the camera right now. Have some more 18-month stories. Spend some time with people that either you know or people that you don't know, and learn more than what you already thought. Redefine what your preconceptions are, because you might find that there's some validity in a viewpoint that you don't necessarily agree in, or you might find that they might find that your viewpoint has some validity, or you might find that relationship is somewhere in the middle between them, and that the more important thing than what your viewpoint is each other.
Come on. I'll say amen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
You feel that, Rashid?
That's a good way to sum it up.
Right, yeah.
Wow. This is how we do it on the Nevcast. We'll see you next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday. Yeah, that's right. Talk to you, hear you next Wednesday, hear us next Wednesday, all that.
That's it for the Nevcast this time. Join us next week when we talk justice, business, and art in pursuit of Jesus. We will see you soon.